Ben Hunt, will he sign with the Broncos? Yes, he did. Was it a shock? Not a shock, but it wasn't what I was expecting. But obviously, at the end of the day, it depends on where his family wanted to go. And obviously, they chose Broncos. Is James Fisher-Harris and Clint Gutherson washed up? Are they good signings, including Valentine Holmes for the Dragons? And we'll also talk in this episode about Lachlan Galvin. Are they worth signing these young teen sensations to long-term contracts? Because we've seen it over and over again. It's failed. Look, they signed Jaden Sullivan on big money at the Tigers. Look what happened there. Even though he probably argued that he shouldn't have been signed for their money because he already had played for a little while. Lachlan Ilias, who's now going to the Dragons as well. Kyle Flanagan. But if you go back to more, Luke Brooks as well. But Jaron Mullen comes to mind as a player that was touted as one of the superstars of the game. And then he went south. So, but let's get into it. Ben Hunt. He's Ben Hunt to the Broncos. What does that mean for this side? Premiership or bust. They're trying to replicate what the Roosters did with Cooper Cronk. But Ben Hunt is not at Cooper Cronk's level. Don't get it twisted. Ben Hunt is not up to that level of player. No doubt about it. Absolutely not up to that level of player. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. He's a great player. But he is not Cooper Cronk. And he will never be a Cooper Cronk. So that's to think he's going to be the Messiah. And I just don't see how Ben Hunt and Anna Reynolds are going to work. I really don't see it unless Ben Hunt's going to just run. He needs to play hooker. And I think he should just play hooker from the start. Not when Ezra Mams. And I think they could easily put Billy Walters in there to do a job at 6 and just say Ben Hunt and Anna Reynolds run the show from there. That's what I'll do. If the Broncos have any chance of winning this premiership that they're looking at, they've got to do it that way. If they put Anna Reynolds and Ben Hunt in the halves, I don't see it working. They're both two dominant players, and it's going to lead to disaster. And any time you've ever done that in your career, had two dominant players, it leads to absolute disaster. So, to me, is it a good signing? Well, it's a good signing in terms of the price they paid. Unbelievable. How can you only pay $600,000 for him? It's just madness. He's a current representative player. He should at least be in a mil. Could argue $900,000. But he had to be somewhere around that ball figure. Allow that to happen, it's going to open a whole can of worms going into the future, because that's just madness. And you're saying Gutherson's win more than Ben Hunt? I don't think so. But that's the way they went. So, but more likely, it looks like they'll play him at 6. But in saying that, Anna Reynolds is often known to get injured, so he will be a straight replacement there at halfback if he goes down. So that is the bonus of having Ben Hunt there. But I still think hooker is his best position, and that's where he should be playing. Warriors fans, James Fisher-Harris. Yes, big talks about it, but we've had big name signings before the Warriors, and all of them failed to deliver. Although they might have helped and somewhat improved the club. I'll just read the list of players that have come. I mean, Steve Price and Ruben Wiki changed culture. Yes, they did, but ultimately didn't get them a premiership. Sam Tompkins talks about one of the biggest signings of ever, and absolutely was probably the biggest flop we've ever had. Now, James Fisher-Harris, will he go into that category? Absolutely monstrous in that Penrith side, but now he's getting to closer to the 30s. Is he over the hill? We will see. He really needs to prove that he is the man dog there. The Warriors were a flop last season. They weren't a complete flop, don't get me wrong. They actually played pretty good football, but it reminded me of a year when Steve Kearney was in charge and they were complaining they were losing, but they were only just losing. There was a similar situation last year for the Warriors, or this year, with the Warriors just not being able to capitalise and win those games when they should have, which was costly for them in the end. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, because I've seen Dan Army's teams before. We look at the Dolphins, it's failed. It's failed every time I've seen them go Dad's Army anywhere. It just fails in disaster. You need a couple of them, but you don't need a whole squad of them. That is the question mark. And the Warriors need to find something, because it's a different era here. They could be near the bottom of the table, the Warriors. I don't know. They need to find a director who's very good, and that's my concern for the Warriors. Is G Cleary that person, maybe? But you wouldn't think they'll let G Cleary go if he wasn't a good player. You understand what I'm saying? You would think if they thought G Cleary was like as good as Nathan Cleary, they would not let him go. So that's probably the question mark over him. Timothy Martin, so Chanel Harris-Tavita is the closest, absolute closest you get to Sean Johnson out of who we got. Tanner Boyd, can he do something? That's gonna probably be a big talking point for the Warriors. And does Rogers Tuafasa go back to fullback? I think so. That's what I'll be doing. But in saying that, he struggled a bit last season in centre. So question marks over him as well, whether he is over the hill as well. Hopefully he can turn it around. The Dragons, yes, Clint Gufferson has joined the Dragons with Damien Cook. But yeah, is he a good signing? Yes, he's a good signing, but would he win you a premiership? No. And that's the problem they've got. They haven't got a halfback that'll win in the premiership. They've signed Lachlan Galvin to hopefully do something, but hopefully I'm proved wrong, but I just can't see that in Kyle Flanagan winning a premiership. You need a gun player in your halves to win the premiership, and they do not have it. And you got Valentine Holmes coming as well. I just question. I think Damien Cook, this is sort of like Dad's Army sort of situation here. Yeah, it could go two or one way. So you just expect improvement from the Dragons, but the premiership, I don't think so. Now, last of all here, Lachlan Galvin at the West Tigers. Yes, Lachlan Galvin. Yeah, good player, no doubt about it, absolutely. But we talk these players up way too early. I mean, he's only had a season. Come on, get real. They've got to play a good 3-4 seasons before you know they're the great, next great thing. Yeah, and obviously temperament's going to be a big key to that. Jerome Luai, big signing for that reason. And Jerome Luai has a lot of pressure on him being the main man as well. So it could put pressure on Lachlan Galvin or could release him. But yeah, signing these players to a long-term contract as the talks are going along at big money is a recipe for disaster. I'd rather them go, yes, we'll go 2 years, 1 million a season, then go 4 years, 800,000. Because that way you're looking at 2 million on the thing. Otherwise, if you do it for 4 seasons, it's 3.2 million. And that way, yes, you could get burnt for 2 years, but it's better than getting burnt for 4 years. And then if he does continue to do what he's doing, then you just re-sign him for a bigger amount of money. So, yeah, to me, I wouldn't sign him a long-term contract. I would go give him a pay rise, but short-term, don't lock him down long-term until he's really proven he is an elite. But he has the potential to be elite, but we've seen that about 100 players, thousands of players, and then they go by the wayside. So anyway, this is Barry Charles for the show for another episode, and I'll be back with plenty more on this channel. Have a great day out there.